Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Shufinah Binti Suhaimi and I am an aerospace engineering student. Today, I will present to you my FYP project entitled Investigation on the Delamination of CFRP subjected to various forces. Let's begin. Composites are very famous in today's world, especially in aerospace, automotive and marine industry. It is because composite has much better performance and save the consumption of energy in many aspects. There are several types of composites which are fiber reinforcement composites, particulate composite, laminar composite, flake composites and fill composites. In composite actually consists of reinforcement and matrices which are two different material and become one new material. Most common reinforcement being used is like carbon, fiberglasses, and natural resources which come from plant, and there are many material being used for reinforcement, and usually material for matrices is epoxy resin. Now we go. Why research need to be done in this project? The most common composite that been used in those industries that been mentioned before is CFRP. CFRP always been used as part of aircraft body or vehicles body because of its properties. During takeoff, landing, and in flight, this CFRP is exposed to the surrounding, which will risk the CFRP to get defects. These defects is caused by the foreign body impact, which is the unwanted forces that will affect the body of the aircraft and its material. The defects will lead to damaged surfaces which will lead to a bigger problem. The most common defects is delamination. Delamination is very dangerous as it is hard to be detected if detailed inspection is not being made. There are three objectives in this experiment. Firstly, to fabricate a unidirectional CFRP laminates with the same thickness for 3 different tests. Secondly, to study the effect on CFRP when subjected to 3 tests: tensile, compressive, and Charpy impact tests. And finally, to investigate the delamination occur on the CFRP while subjected to 3 different tests.
Go to the literature review, the information that we get for this research. Of course, we need to know about the delamination itself. The delamination phenomenon is when the adjacent layer is separated. This is due to the separating stress between plies is larger than the body strength. This delamination also happens because of material imperfection, which is the geometrical imperfection that describe the unperfect surface of the plate like small initial curvature on the surface. The constructional imperfection is like general crack. Like mentioned earlier, the delamination occurs mainly because of foreign body impact. For example, tools drop, birds strike, runway debris hit, and etc. However, another reason is due to the manufacturing process, such as not laminated properly, air pockets present during the fabrication process, excessive matrix content on the edge, and any undesirable thing during the manufacturing process. The seriousness of this delamination defect sparks the interest of many researchers to investigate either experimentally or theoretically. The objectives of the researcher are almost the same as listed here. This is just to encounter this delamination problem. The composite material that is focused on is the CFRP, which is the short form of carbon fiber reinforced polymer. The two combinations of light and not easily corrode carbon, while the epoxy resin has excellent strength, stiffness, and toughness, become one material that has a better performance compared to any metallic material. The challenge of CFRP is it is very brittle and not so cheap, but compared to the challenges, the advantages are much more and can be overcome. The direction of the ply plays important roles to determine the strength of the composite's material. There are several types of the direction of ply, which is woven. Woven fabrics are often created on a loom and made of many threads woven on a warp and a weft. A unidirectional ply is being stacked at only one direction, either 0 degrees or 90 degrees, while multi-directional ply being stacked with different orientation. After several comparisons between those three, unidirectional ply is the best to be tested when subjected to static loading. Due to its direction, it is easier to determine the maximum stress of the composite, and most experiments shows no tap debonding occur. Splitting of the composites can be avoided as proper shear transfer to the material when shear force applied. This picture shows which part of the body aircraft that been made by CFRP, mostly from the tip of the nose to the back of the tail, all been made by CFRP material. Commonly, there are three methods to fabricate CFRP. Firstly, the vacuum bagging process is involving pressurizing the surroundings of the wet layup of the ply during the curing process of the composites. Secondly, hot pressing of metal, which the process uses an active metal to be pressed with the reinforcement material. And finally, using ultrasonic welding. This process happens when combined with the fabric and matrix using ultrasound vibration, which high in temperature. The forces that being tested for the CFRP consist of three types. Generally, these forces represent the foreign body impact experienced by the body of aircraft. Compression test. The specimen will be according to ASTM D6441 and the max compression will be analyzed. The low velocity impact CHRP impact test. The specimen according to ASTM E23 and matrix cracking will be analyzed. The tensile test. The specimen according to ASTM D3039, the failure of modes will be observed. The result of the experiment will be compared with the stated references.
Okay, this is, as you can see in the slide, this is the brief methodology of how this project will be conducted. Firstly, the determination of specification for the specimens, which is the thickness of each specimen will be kept constant. Then after that, we move to the fabrication process. In this experiment, the vacuum bagging process is being chosen as it is cheap and simple. Then after the fabrication process, we will conduct the experiment testing, which is the tensile test, compression test, and CHRP impact test. After being tested, the data from the experiment will be validated by the which we will compare with the available data, and if it's not valid, then the experiment testing will be conducted again. But if the data is valid, we will proceed to the observation of the delamination, then the result will be analyzed, and finally the report writing. That's all my presentation for today. Thank you. Have a nice day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.